Hello, Fun Robotics Network. My name is Anthony, and today on Behind the Bot, we are here with Team 31537, non-applicable, from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. They were the third Alliance captain and the Design Award winner at the Oklahoma State competition. We're going to kind of talk about their bot and how their structure, intake, shooter, and turret make them a really unique robot here on Behind the Bot.
This video on fun is brought to you by viewers like you and also in partnership with the following. True competitors know that every second counts. That's why Kettering University challenges you to dive in right away as a first-year student. Participating in robotics programs helps Kettering students secure a valuable co-op. Whatever your interest, Kettering gives you more space to work faster and win faster. Learn more at kettering.edu/first. AnyMark is your one-stop shop for all things FTC. Teams who are looking for inspiration in DECODE can check out AnyMark's Robotics Core Kit and FTC Starter Bot, which are designed with usability and accessibility in mind. And check out some of their new components suitable for any FTC robot. Head on over to anymark.com to find solutions that fit your team.
So, looking at the robot, it's made of some carbon fiber, which is something a lot of teams aren't used to using. Tell us why you used it and what benefits you guys have had.
So we use carbon fibers specifically because of our CNC, or actually we don't have CNC, but we have laser cutting. And so the max dimensions of our laser cutter is 12 by 24. And so because of that, we wanted to fit all of our pieces on 12 by 24 sheets. So that means we have, if you can see here, this is 1/4 inch Delrin, and then this is 1/8 inch Delrin. And then if you look at the bottom of the plate, right here, this bottom plate that holds the robot together is a 16th piece Delrin. And so because of that, we couldn't fit a whole plate to be larger, because you know how most robots, how they mount the turret is they have the outside plate, then the inside plate, and then the inside plate goes up, and then the whole turret mounts on top. But we don't have the space to cut that, and so we use 3/8 inch carbon fiber. So this is pultruded carbon fiber, and we have one on each corner in a pyramid style, and so that basically holds the turret together and also holds the ramp together.
So obviously it looks very open and very kind of modular. Tell us about how you guys manage your robot, how you guys can take it apart and things like that, how easy that is.
So for our turret system, it's very modular because it sits on top of a 3D printed gusset that connects all 4 carbon fiber rods, and right on top of them you can see is a 1/4 inch Delrin plate that attaches by a couple 1032 screws on each corner. And to take off the entire shooter and turret separately, we can unscrew each one of these screws and then work on it separately. This allows us to make our turret assembly much more complicated. So we run 2 Axon servos, 100 tooth gears to 20 tooth gears, and then we have a double helical gear, 32 to 120 teeth, that runs our turret at 110 RPM. So no matter how fast we spin, we'll always be able to point in the same direction. A special thing about this turret packaging though is how we're using bearing stacks. So for bearing stacks are very thick because you have to have your radial bearing and your thrust bearing. But for ours, we have our thrust bearing, then radial bearing, and then inside of the actual helical gear, you will see another thrust bearing, which is indented, so a turret is much thinner than other types of bearing stack turrets. And since we use two servos, we can get away with using 2 motors on our intake.
So for our intake, we have a 2-stage intake. So we have a first stage with 48mm geckos, and then surgical tubing wheels that are also cut to 48mm in diameter. And so you can see we have 2 5000 series Go Builder motors right here that are geared. What was the gear ratio again?
They're geared to 3000 RPM, which allows us to intake balls extremely quickly. And here for a demonstration, it instantly, the moment it touches any of these rollers, no matter how far to the left or right of them, the ball instantly goes into our indexer. And as for indexer, we don't have the motors separately. We have them all connected via chain because we've felt that belts, they have a tendency to have more friction. So whenever we use belts, their spin and rotation is not hindered by anything. And then whenever we intake balls, you can see, come closer. We have a hard stop. If you look down here, right there. If we're intaking, the ball can never go through. because there's a hardtop servo that holds it together. And whenever we want to shoot, it will open up, allowing for the ball to pass through.
So, seeing how fast this intake is, the front bar, you guys decided to be able to make it move up and down. Why did you guys decide to do that versus having it stationary like a lot of teams are doing?
So the problem, okay, it's not really a problem, but the main thing about a robot is because since it's so wide, the robot can fit more than 3 balls in the front. Lots of robots, they typically run like this whole wide intake right here, and then just the entire robot is kind of within the intake. But since our robot is around the entire intake, it can hold more than 4 balls or hold more than 3 balls. And so when we hold 3 balls, this ball on the edge will raise the intake up, and then if we could get another ball, it would let go of the ball on the side.
And another thing for it is also to reduce the compression once the ball goes in. So whenever it is down, this is we want it to have as much compression on the ball as humanly possible, so it sucks up really quickly. So down here we have compressions of 8 millimeters, but at the top the compression is 2 millimeters. So what's happening with this is we have further reach as there's more reach right here. So this you'll be able to see it goes in easier, but the moment it goes over this, it'll be able to go down again for the next ball that sits here to not actually be like move too much. Now that we've talked about the feeding system that goes into our shooting system, we can talk about shooting system.
Okay, so first about our shooting system is we have an adjustable hood, and so this hood is operated by a 16th tooth. Oh, you can hold the. So it's held in by a 16th tooth rack right here. That's also powered by a
Axon Mini.
The Axon Mini, and then this is a 24 tooth pinion, and so this is double helical, and so that allows for us to have a range of between 35 to 55 degrees from the horizontal. And so this allows us to get around as close to 40 inches away from the goal, and then all the way to the back of the launch stand.
Yeah, and so one of the things I remember talking with you guys about earlier was how you guys gear your shooter before you actually do it belt-wise to the wheels themselves. Tell us about that and why you guys decided to do that and what benefits you guys have had.
Okay, so prior to what other people think, you don't have to run your flywheel for 72 millimeter Kubota wheels at 6,000 RPM, because to be able to shoot from a distance of 150 inches, you can run your flywheel at the max RPM of 4,800. So for this, we have 2 Kubota 5,000 series motors that go into 24 tooth pinion into another 30 tooth pinion, and going out of the shaft is a 4,800 RPM. With this higher torque ratio, we're able to spin up our shooter faster compared to other robots that have the same amount of weight as us.
Yeah. So the biggest thing about that is that because we're able to spin up much faster, we can put more flywheel weights. A lot of people we have said in the past that more than 4 or 6 flywheel weights is too much of a spin up time, but because of this, we were able to spin up with 6 flywheel weights in under a second.
Yeah, that's really impressive, and I think that's something that teams should be considering overall as the season goes on, because now that we've been to Oklahoma State and we have other state and national championships happening, I know turrets and things are something that a lot of teams are actually trying to continue to constantly improve, and I think how you guys do your system is something that is very unique, along with all the carbon fiber and the intake and everything. So thank you guys so much for your time.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell to stay up to date on future fun videos. AndyMark is your one-stop shop for all things FTC. Teams who are looking for inspiration in Decode can check out AndyMark's Robotics Core Kit and FTC Starter Bot, which are designed with usability and accessibility in mind. And check out some of their new components suitable for any FTC robot. Head on over to AndyMark.com to find solutions that fit your team. True competitors know that every second counts. That's why Kettering University challenges you to dive in right away as a first-year student. Participating in robotics programs helps Kettering students secure a valuable co-op. Whatever your interests, Kettering gives you more space to work faster and win faster. Learn more at kettering.edu/first.